Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Alexis Disventure Camp, and today I'll be reviewing the Season 4, Episode 5 of Disventure Camp. Before this begins, a few things to note. The background footage is not owned by me, it is owned by Onish Cartoons. Additionally, this is my own personal opinion / analysis. If you have different, that's completely fine. I would love to read in the comments down below. In my videos, I do sections to maintain organization and simplicity, and for this video, they are the episode analysis / review, the elimination discussion, and the conclusion. Alrighty, without further delay, let's get this started.
Seeing you take charge, not once underestimating me, makes me want to follow you into any battle.
Section, I'll be starting with the blue team, then moving to the red team, keeping all the character dynamics or groups together and discussing them as one to make this easier. For example, our first, Marissa and Anastasia. Marissa getting an actual character building moment with an actual focus on her in the narrative. Never thought I'd see the day. Jokes aside, it's just awesome to finally see that come full circle, especially since I've been waiting for Marissa to get a moment like that so far since the season begun, so it finally happening is just awesome. And her interactions with Linda I'm really intrigued in because the Girls Alliance itself has been such a beast in terms strategically for the blue team. My guess is Linda's gonna be the one to break it apart. I know, what a earth-shattering, shocking guess here, and that'll partially be thanks to the interactions with Marissa, so I do wonder how that'll affect Marissa's character, the Anastasia-Marissa dynamic, things like that. Speaking of that dynamic, I adore them. Look, sometimes sweet and wholesome is all I look for out of a ship, and that's what this is. It's supportive, they're kind with one another, and it's just sweet to watch. I don't know, I think that's really cute, too. Either way, moving on to Anastasia's character, she doesn't really get much focus this episode other than her interactions with Marissa, which I think is perfectly fine. We don't get to see much of it, but the Logan and Anastasia dynamic is also pretty cool. Either way, I'm a big fan of Anastasia, and Marissa's starting to warm up on me after seeing her actual character grow a bit more. Moving on to Isabel and Natalia, the thing with these two that's hard to talk about is they never get screen time, or if they do get screen time, if you're lucky, it's like one scene, which I understand some characters need more screen time than others, especially in the pre-merge, and my own personal theory is it's gonna be like Ellie in Season 1. For those who don't remember, Ellie in Season 1 never really got the main focus until like Episode 10, then Episode 11, where she was highly featured, had these big moments, etc., etc., and I think that's what they're doing with Isabel and Natalia. They're gonna be important later on, but for now, they're kind of just there for the ride. Isabel building suspicion about other people having the idol will probably be important later. Again, Isabel's main contributing factor to this entire season so far is the fact she has an immunity idol and how that plays out. I'm also curious to see how that affects the duo of Isabel and Natalia because they've been a pretty great duo so far, but I do think the idol itself is going to be causing conflicts between that duo later on, or is at least going to cause some rifts strategically. Either way, I think it's interesting, but for these two, it's a lot of just waiting and seeing. Richard and Linda are one that I was kind of shocked by, that they kind of just got along. I mean, I get it, it's the game, they kind of just gotta stick by each other now that they're at the very bottom of the totem pole in terms of the team. I kind of just expected a bit more tension there, or at least more interesting interactions. That's not really a critique, that was just my personal expectations. I do think it's also because they weren't really the huge focus of the episode. It was more so just kind of there, that dynamic, but I do think it will be developed in later episodes, so I'm not too upset about it. I really don't care. I just think it's interesting that that didn't really happen. Richard winning the challenge is fine. Linda trying to be an antagonist is, you know, I would have preferred Ted, but we've crossed that bridge. Linda's probably going to be the main one for now, so I guess we just have to wait and see how she decides to continue approaching strategy. Moving on to Logan, he just kind of gets his own section because, I mean, he doesn't really have any main dynamics with these people. He interacts with all of them, but doesn't really, so far it hasn't amounted. I'm just kind of curious to see where he goes from here strategically. Like, he has everyone sort of on his side, sort of not. It's really just a bit of confuzzled mess. Ultimately, Logan hasn't really focused on whatever his personal arc's gonna be for a bit. I say a bit, it's been 2 episodes, but I'm kind of excited to see that. Again, with Logan, it's more like waiting and seeing, sort of with Isabel and Natalia for now, because again, he didn't really do much except, like, apologize to Richard, Linda, talk with the girls, just kind of both siding, which is interesting and intriguing on its own, so Logan Zayn's cool, and I'm excited for more. Moving on to Red Team, we've got Benji and Hannah. Benji is that one character that's somehow gonna make, like, top 5, gonna make merge, and then you just sit there and wonder how on earth he did it. Personally, I think he's just gonna find his own Benji way to do it, and also because he's not really a threat. I'd be interested if he made finale. I think it'd be kind of funny. It'd be even funnier if he won. So you know what? Just for that, Benji sweep, come on, make Benji win. On an actual serious note, Benji improved for me this episode from the simple fact I laughed at one of his jokes. Truly an immaculate accomplishment. Oh my gosh. Either way, Benji's Benji, and I'm sure he'll grow more and more in the future in the episodes, at least I hope. Just don't bring back episode 1 Benji, and I think we're gonna be good. Moving on to Hannah. Basically, if you interact with Hannah as a best friend, you are cursed to be eliminated within the next few episodes. Confirmed by Diego and Ameli's elimination. Either way, Hannah's just kinda cool. She's just sort of there so far. I am intrigued to see more of her, but we haven't, again, gotten that chance yet, or to really dive more into her backstory. Overall, she's cool. I don't really have much more to say on her, but maybe her Benji dynamic will become interesting later on. That's something to keep in mind. Moving on to the vibe trio, my actual bias, the Ivy, Zayn, and Tristan. I adore these three so much. I know sometimes they aren't the most intriguing, but I just love their dynamic. Specifically, I really like Zayn and Ivy. I think they've got a lot of chemistry, and I'm excited to see where they go. Even though Ivy's saying the values thing, that's probably the conflict for them, but I don't know how much it'll come in later for them. And I am curious to see how long the Zayn and Ivy ship, as long as the Anastasia and a Marissa ship, given who got eliminated this episode, since they're gonna be the main, couples of the season, I presume. It's kind of interesting to see how long those stories will last. But I'm going to talk about Tristan for a second. Tristan's just kind of chilling, just kind of there. I am excited, and again, I've said this before, but I am hoping they get to do more in the coming future. But, they're cool, they're chill, and that's basically all they need to do for now, I suppose. Zayd's just Zayd, and I adore them for it. He's just an awesome character to keep around, in my own opinion, because I like the cook aesthetic, I like his personality, all of that. Ivy, she just gets hate everywhere. I've seen some people say she's worse than Rhea, which I think is a bit of an exaggeration. Either way, this is going to be a really controversial take, but I loved Ivy this episode. I love the fact she's not perfect. Ivy has a bit of a negative side to her. Despite her own goal being to prove the game doesn't change, Hollywood doesn't make you evil, it is making her bring out some of her negative side. It's naturally there, and I think that's in a very intriguing direction because it's directly against her main motivation. And I think it's a really interesting conflict to explore come the future. And no, it's not the exact same thing as Rhea. At least I don't view it as that. So I'm extremely hyped for whatever Ivy has next in store, because if it's gonna be like this, I'm excited. Plus, what she said to Benji was a Survivor reference, so I can't get really too mad. And plus, it isn't too bad what she said. But still, it's not the nicest. Either way, her having that rude side is going to be so intriguing later. I think Zayd and Tristan are going to be the moral compasses trying to keep her away from that, and especially how her negative side will affect those dynamics. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Now we can end this off with Jade and Spencer, and we're going to talk about Diego a bit in the elimination discussion, so hold on tight for that. Jade, again, has stuck to Spencer and Diego like glue and has only talked about Spencer and Diego. The only time I think she's gotten the chance to talk about her own motivations was her backstory, which everyone got, so, I'm extremely hyped that because she's a bit more against Spencer now, she can separate from Spencer and do something called interacting with the other. No, I get some characters, it's very early in the season, and you have to kind of stick to who you're given, but still, I think Jade has it worse because she doesn't have much other than strategy, and when that strategy is always directly attached to the other characters, it's kind of just, so I do think this offers a lot of potential for Jade, and Jade is here in this episode is fine. She didn't really do anything, so it's kind of hard to give much of a gauge there. I think it's more so waiting for the future episodes for Jade, because she can now do something more. Truly impeccable. Moving on to Spencer, I come in with probably a controversial take. I was extremely excited when I saw that he eliminated Diego. I think was it horrible for his game? Yes. He probably should have kept Diego in for the simple fact that alliance needs to stay, and Diego again wouldn't ever vote him, so yeah, but either way, I think it's awesome for Spencer's character because he doesn't have to deal with that anymore. He can be more of his own character, which I think he definitely had over the Jade and Diego trio. His personality shined the most, and with that gone, it also shows a lot of his flaws, you know? I think if I had to really compare what Spencer's character is, it's kind of a mix of Jake and Alec, and I think it works really well so far, at least in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of it, so, you know, I think Spencer overall was great this episode because of that fact, and also, again, the flaws, the problems with this, it overall will culminate for his future strategy, and I'm curious to see how he'll get himself out of the bottom of the game position. Overall, he might not be there. Maybe it's more of a middle game position. Just depends on how the Vibe Trio decides to handle it, or if Hannah and Benji decide to work with Spencer. I'm not entirely sure because Spencer doesn't like Benji, Jade doesn't like Benji, and that entire confuzzle is just something else, so I think it's ultimately going to depend on the Vibe Trio. But either way, with all of these characters discussed, we can move on to the elimination discussion.
Seeing you take charge, not once underestimating me, makes me want to follow you into any battle.
Elimination of the season simply for the narrative implications it has. I was entirely expecting for this entire season to be the slow burn between Diego and Spencer lasts until, like, let's see here, episode 20 or however long, and then we just have to keep the back and forth and then yada yada. But no! He gets eliminated in episode 5, and that's extremely refreshing to me, and now both characters don't have to be dragged down because of it. In my own personal opinion, the Diego and Spencer ship dragged down both characters involved in it, and it also dragged down Jade as a part of this situation, because the two characters, in my own opinion, didn't really have chemistry, they didn't really work, etc., and they were also proven to be better with literally anybody else they interacted with. Diego is pretty good when he interacts with somebody else, which is proven here with his interactions with Hannah. At times can be a bit quote-unquote bland, I guess, but he's, in my own opinion, fine and can be a really entertaining character when, again, he's not with Spencer and he's not with, well, I guess Jade's fine. Either way, it's just better when he's not with them. And again, this episode kind of focused on that in a way, and it really, to me, improved Diego's sort of character in that own respect. Overall, not only that, the strategic implications it has on the game. How is Spencer gonna do with the Vibe Trio now? What's the favor he's gonna owe? Jade's entire distrust towards Spencer now, because now she can interact with other people. It's just a lot of net positives are coming from Diego's elimination, even though it can be sad to some. I was extremely happy afterwards, and I am excited to see what they have in store for the next elimination, if they're gonna be like this. Unpredictable, suspenseful, and sometimes, in this case, better for the story in my own personal opinion. Now, with all this out of the way, let's move right on to the conclusion.
Seeing you take charge, not once underestimating me, makes me want to follow you into any battle.
Love this episode so much. Episode 5 of the Disventure camps are usually actual bangers, and this is no different. I've also heard that the following episode, episode 6, is gonna be the musical episode, and if that's true, we Disventure camp fans are going to be having some great content coming soon. Or at least I'm hopeful about it. Either way, what were your thoughts on the episode characters? I would love to again read in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing day or night, depending on when you're watching this.